Hi, good afternoon. I'm not going to pause and delay too long. I'm not sure how many folks are joining me live today, but I am making today's session about fascia, which I thought I'd spend a few minutes just explaining a little bit about, because I think in the fitness industry it's a word that's definitely become spoken about a little bit more, which is fantastic. And certainly in the medical industry, up until about 60 years ago, 50, 60 years ago, when training doctors were being trained with dissections, human dissections, they would just throw the fascia away because they thought it had no relevance. And now we know very differently through neuroscience that it is actually an incredibly important structure, especially when it comes to movement of everything in our body. So our fascia is quite literally the connective tissue that holds everything together, that keeps everything in its place. It lines our organs, it lines our muscles, it lines our nerves. It is everything. It is everywhere, and it is one massive interconnected structure. So if we had to take it out of you, it would all be part of one thing. So the fascia in one part absolutely can impact on the fascia somewhere else. So that's a really interesting discovery, I think, that they've made. So it is approximately 50% fluid, and its purpose is to allow everything to move alongside each other without sticking. When there is sticking, that's when we start to feel pain or noxious. If you've been listening to the brain videos, noxious stimulus can be sent there. So our ideal is to have this sense of gliding and sliding. So today I'm actually going to warm us up and start us off with a little bit of fascial work. So I've been spending a bit of time following the Franklin method, both with the breathing. I think I've mentioned it now, breathing, before, and now with a bit of fascial stuff. So that's what we're going to cover today. Right. Oh, super. We got a couple of you guys popped on. Well, that's fantastic, guys. Okay, so you're just in time. Fascial stuff today. So I just want you to start off, and they do use a lot of imagery, which I just simply love. So I want you to just visualize your chest. Just visualize those two big balloons in your chest, which are your lungs, and they stretch from just at the below of the rib, or just at the bottom of the ribs, up towards underneath that collarbone. You could feel when you breathe the tone of the tissue changing under both. I mean, okay, yes, under the rib cage here, you're feeling a lot of intercostal movement as well. But I want you to just think about that diaphragm. And as you breathe in and the diaphragm contracts and pulls down, I want you to draw the shoulders up, lengthening this tissue and then bringing it back down. I'm going to do it on both sides. So I'm just going to breathe in and feel that inside, that kind of stretch that's happening. And I want to breathe forward, sideways, backwards, upwards, downwards. I want to fill my balloons. And again, breathing in. Feel that rib cage or that diaphragm movement. Ear to the side. We're going to do it with one shoulder. Just bring it up and down. Roll the shoulder forward, up, breathing in, and out as you roll it back and down. Take it backward, back up, and over the front. Take the hand to the shoulder, forward, up, and around the back, and down, and backward. And just feeling all that space. It's a real sense of introspection. And coming back up. As you breathe in and out, maybe you can actually feel there already a comparison of the side that you've done and the side that you have not yet done. So shoulders sliding up and down. Nice. And again, sliding up and down. Let's roll it forward and up and around the back and down and then backwards. Trying to relax it, have no expectations, just kind of go with the breath as you breathe in and feel it kind of pull length into all this tissue and back down. And when we come backwards, it's the same. You can kind of feel all this filling up and exhale, come it back down and back into the center. Right, I want you to sponge your neck. So just bring your hands behind your neck, lace your fingers, heels of the hands on either side. And I just want you to sponge with the heels of your hands. Just gently squeeze, squeeze. You can move up and down. And just the heels of the hands are gently kneading that tissue. You can try different angulations of the head. Keep on kneading. You can go up and down. I think I said that already. It's just delicious. And then I want you to come to just above your your ears on your scalp. And I just want you to move the skin over the bone. You can kind of seek out the junction. There's where the two plates of bone, there's plates of bone that are fused together on your skull, and there are also joints. There's fascia between there too. And our fascia wraps over the back of our skull and connects onto your forehead. So as you're massaging all the way around the back of those ears, and then back up again, and back over that nice crescent. As you breathe, maybe you can feel some subtle changes. Be open to it, and then you might feel it. Then take your ears and just kind of move them around. I can touch my ears in different parts. Whenever I'm working in this space, I'm contacting that vagus nerve, nerve vagus that connects my endocrine to my brain. And then I'm going to come over the shoulder with my fingers and the heel of the hand in the front, and I'm just going to feel with my fingers as I'm sponging that top of the trapezius. Just kind of feel the skin moving over the tissue on the back there. And then I want you to come to your deltoid, and with the same, just kind of feel everything in there. Can you feel the shape of the deltoid? It's like a cap sleeve, yeah? And I want you to get your fingers in the back, and then where you can kind of get as close to the bone, and just gently palpating in there. There's a big nerve that runs down there that's also covered in fascia. And so if you hit him, you might get a little fizzle. And we've got the bicep on the top and the tricep at the bottom. You can feel you between those two muscles. And as you're massaging down, there's a fibrous sheet that runs between the two. And that's also got fascia. Good, so I want you to feel, there's my elbow. On either side, there's two little bones, right? It belongs to my humerus bone, just like my femur bone has the greater trochanter and the inferior trochanter nodules sticking out there as nodules. And I'm going to just come proximal up from that bone, that sticky up bit. Hook the fingers in and just get a little feel in there. Just give it a little massage. That's it. And then with those fingers hooked in, I want you to pull across. Pull the arm across. I'm just standing in my feet, breathing easily. You can see I'm not holding that arm stiff. I'm kind of letting it wave. But the action is to pull it across. I can go lower, and I can go mid-range, I can go higher, and just let it happen. Give into it a little bit. Love it. And then bring it back. Shake it all out. Fabulous. Now I want you to find it on the top. So put your hand on the top of the arm. Find those two bones again. And again, coming just up from those bones. I've got a hold of myself here, and I'm pulling, and with the thumb, I'm pulling my arm forward and around, forward and around. Pull it forward and around. We're just massaging the fascia on your back at the moment. Let go. Start thinking of pulling it up and over, like you want to pull a blanket on top of you. Sorry, I'm just going to knock that off. Blanket on top of your head. Just kind of feel it draw over. There's a side bend and a rotation happening there without you forcing it. And then just relax, shake it all off. And maybe as you just stand there, you can feel the difference between the two sides. And when you lift those arms up and take a deep breath in, it's my greatest desire that you can feel that introspectively on the inside, something has changed. One more time, breathing in. So extroception is what I get from my environment. Temperature, come to the side. Temperature, touch, what I'm doing with my hands here. Feeling what there is to feel. Our proprioception is what we get from the little receptors, proprioceptive receptors in our joint mechanoreceptors, our Golgi tendon organs, our muscle fibers. And then interoception is an inner sense of self, so slightly different. Come find that deltoid, just have a nice feel of it. Feel the shape. Can you find that point back here under that deltoid where you can get as close to the bone as you can? And then just coming down. I rarely hit the nerve on the other side, but on the side, I always have a little moment where we connect with each other. And remember that there is bicep this side, tricep that side. And we're coming down that fibrous sheet in between. Love it. Good. Now let's find those two bones. I want the outside one, proximal, just up from there. Get the fingers in. Give it a nice little, yeah. Right, and then start pulling it across. That's it. Just kind of let go into it. Don't overthink it, because I kind of just want to feel my body massaging itself. I want to explore the down, the up, the over, and just feel without any expectations what is happening in my body. Going over the top. I've got my thumb on the bone, got the fingers on the bone, come just up from that, and then pull that arm forward and across, forward and across, forward and across. Maybe upping it a bit, making it come over a little bit. Oh, I feel my arm trying to take over rather than letting itself be carried. Finding the side bend and twist in there somewhere. Pulling the duvet over your head. That's kind of how I felt this morning. I had a bit of a wobbly day. And I just kind of felt like I could hide under a blanket. But I feel better. I'm glad I didn't. Shake it out. Beautiful. And now just take a breath. Oh, and bringing it down. Okay. So let's just stick with that movement. So if you look at pictures of the muscles, the man muscles from the back, they're always depicting like a triangle here that's quite white. And then there'll be kind of white up the spine and a bit of white over here. That's showing you where the fascia is really thick. So this is solidly white because there is so much fascia from every angle. That fascia transduces force from here right across through to there. And from here, it transmits the force across to there. And then over up and down. So in that movement that we've just done, that kind of pull the blanket over my head, I want to do that from side to side, but I want the back arm to do the pattern going down. So my hand is going to stroke down that fascia as I come up and over, and up and over, and up and over. Just a real sense of reaching in two opposite directions. I can bend my knees if I feel that that is too stiff. And maybe a couple more. And I'll finish off there. So also really thick at our wrist. So I'd like you to shake your skin. Just jerk it backwards and forwards. Right down into the hand. And so if you can imagine, right, your skin, like let's think of cake, layers of cake. The icing is going to be your skin, the external stuff. And then just beneath it is a layer of fascia. Okay, let's just do a little Chinese bangle, but don't hurt yourself, just move the skin backwards and forwards. And then underneath the layer of fascia is a layer of fatty tissue, and then a fibrous layer and another layer of fatty tissue. But through the layer of fatty tissue are all these little ligaments that when you feel, it just stops, right? You slide and it just stops. There's a sudden like stop. There's little ligaments, like little roots growing up through the fatty tissue, holding onto that skin. So the fascia is the glide and slide. That's the bit that, so it needs to be really fluid. And so I'm just trying to encourage that fluid to kind of move through there. I'm going to give it a smack in as well. In fact, you know what? I'm going to come all the way under my arm with this. I've got a loose fist. I'm just kind of tapping all the way down there. And then shake it off. And again, why don't we just reflect on whether that made a difference side to side? Can you feel anything different? I think quite a few folks that have done this with me have actually said that one was probably the one that made the most difference, right to left, to the whole sort of shouldery bit. So I'm coming to the other side and I'm going to jerk the skin backwards and forwards, just kind of shake it backwards and forwards, right down into the hand. That's it, feeling those little ligaments, yeah, kind of moving around. It gets thicker down here, thicker around these bones. Maybe a little Chinese bangle going the other way, moving the skin backwards and forwards. The crazy things I make you do. I don't know if I'm brave enough to do the one I think looks most crazy on here. Going through. Shake it off. And just take a feel. So I'd love your feedback. I know I've got one person on here doing it with me. But as and when, if you do this, I would love your feedback as to what you thought of all of this stuff. So, one of them that I felt really quite powerful was the diaphragm one. So I just want you guys to just tap around the base of the diaphragm for a moment. And the diaphragm is a disc muscle, a disc-like muscle separating my stomach organs from my breathing organs. And it's kind of flat, and it's got fascia underneath and it's got fascia on top. So maybe just have a little feel of that angle where it is around the back so you can visualize that disc. And there's fascia underneath, fascia on top. There's fascia around the pericardium of the heart. There's fascia around the pleural sacs of the lungs. There's fascia around the liver. There's fascia around in and out all through there, right? So I want to try and shake my diaphragm. So I'm not going to wiggle my hips. I know I get very carried away with my arms, but I'm actually just trying to find where I can shake my diaphragm. When you feel it in and around here, you will feel it. You will know it's right. So you just can shake it all different angles. And then I'd like you to I know this is the silly part, I'd like you to make a noise with your voice box, creating a vibration from the inside. So I'm just going to do some scales. And you can almost hear when I get it and when I don't get it. And I bet you're giggling like crazy, right? But when you stop, can you just feel? It's like everything around there is just loosened the belt a notch. And so I want you to take your hands forward and take your hands side. From the chest, go forward. From the chest, go sideways. So what I'm doing right now is I am contracting muscles which are contracting into the tendons, which in turn are moving my bones, okay? But in our tendinous fascia, the fascia around our tendons, it holds more collagen. It has more collagen than elastin. So elastin is like elastic, right? When there's force, it stretches, and when that force is gone, it pings back. With collagen, collagen is more like that, and it holds force. So when it's stretched, it recoils. It comes straight back, right? Feel this. So I'm going to do the same movement, and I'm going to try and impact on my tendinous fascia, right? And I'm going to find my recoil. I'm trying to find where it feels like bouncy balls, and I'm actually not pausing. That's better. Pausing in the middle. I can feel everybody is going to have their own individual rhythm where they just feel the recoil, where everything just kind of bounces back. You find the force and then it kind of bounces back. So I want you to just do that bring that down. I want you to just do that with our feet as well. So I'm going to grab a chair just so that you can see what I'm doing, and tilt my screen down. I need to make my Achilles tendon feel nice and loose. So I need to relax it. Sorry, I was using a towel for that. Just take that off and tilt this down a little bit more. Good. Oh, will it tilt down anymore? How about that? Right. Okay, so if you can get that to feel nice and relaxed as best as possible. Yeah, there we go. And then I want you to pinch it. Pinch it and pinch up the Achilles tendon. Right, so it gets really tendinous fascia down here. Of course, it's a tendon. And I want to just feel it's tubular down here, and it kind of flattens out. And then my muscle kind of starts up here. And then I'm going to just move the skin around a little bit as best as I can to see if I can jiggle it around over that tendon. And then I'm going to come to the heel, and I'm going to put the heel of my hand and try and move the skin of the heel around on top of that bone. And then you could either use your fingers or loose knuckles and just rake the plantar fascia with that. Let's give it a good old raking. And then can I have a little whacking? Final assault on that leg. And then I just want you to stand. And just give yourself a moment to kind of feel yourself ground into the floor. Lovely. Right. Do a roll down, drop chin to chest, and just peel down through the spine. And I wonder if there's any difference. Again, I'm just curious. It's kind of an experiment. And rolling it back up again. See how you guys feel. I'm going to do the other side. So, get that tendon. Wait, I have to get it nice and relaxed. That's it. So kind of toes down would probably help. And just pinching it, kind of taking note of the shape of it, extraception, feel the touch,
Feel what's under your fingers. Then maybe try and jiggle it around, see if you can move the skin. Not massage the muscle. Well, it's not muscle, but it's but just kind of moving the skin around. And then come to the heel and, whoops, with the heel of your hand to see if you can kind of move the skin on your heel. I will admit, this is now my, what day is it today? My 5th day of doing these exercises, and my skin on my heel is moving so much more than it did the first day. And you can either use fingers and rake, whoops, or you could use your knuckles and rake that plantar fascia under your foot. Ooh, lots of thick fascia under there. 3 layers. Wow. And then give it a nice whacking. Lovely. So that's all lovely and maneuvered, right? So I just want to again take a moment, settle into my feet, and now I want you to feel this. Just give me a little bounce. For those of you that don't want to jump, you can do a bounce. For those of you that want to jump, give me a jump, right? Okay, now take it to where you feel like you are a bouncing ball, whether your feet are on the floor or whether you are just bouncing. I think it's easier to find when you're actually jumping. And just feel that rhythm. Now I want you to go faster. Can you feel how that's all wrong? Like the timing is all wrong. So it takes us to our tendons and our rhythm, right? Finding your own rhythm, allowing it to feel like it is a bouncy ball, like there is a relationship between the two parts. I'm moving you because I'm sure you're tired of staring at my thighs. So we are going to go to a roll down, and I want to work with that concept of the oh, that's what's wrong, with the concept of the bounce in the fascia. So taking ourselves to a nice standing position, feet underneath those sits bones, toes facing forward. Take a deep breath in and roll it down. Tuck the chin in and just curl, dropping down. Give me a little bend and stretch, and just notice how that feels. And again, a nice little bend and stretch. I'm just checking I don't feel like I'm in the middle of my feet. One more time. A little bend, big ball, baby ball, heel, arches lifted. Weight in the middle of those feet, relax the neck. Now bend the right knee, swap to the left knee, and just walk those knees, keeping the feet flat on the floor, and then see if you can find the bounce. See if you can find the rhythm that just feels like a recoil. That's it, sorry. So that it feels like a recoil, like there's no hesitation as you kind of moving between those positions. Feel the one leg communicating with the other, and where is that transmission happening? Right across that sacroiliac area where we've just worked on that fascia. So my hope is that that feels just pretty awesome. And then bend both, stretch both, and we're going to bend them and bring them down onto the floor. Alright, so I'm sorry the internet broke for a second there. I'm not quite sure what I missed. Spread those hands out, lovely big flat jazz hands, all 10 fingers on the ground, and then just press the floor away, opening that chest. Take a deep breath, tuck the tail under, squeeze like you need a wee, find the articulation that is just so super duper precise. Breathing into the back, and then start at the tailbone, articulate it out, vertebra by vertebra, bringing the breastbone forward and up. One more time, breathing in and out, starting at the tailbone, scooping up the abdominals. Let it push you into that amazing big arc, and then releasing it back. Press outward with the hands. Smashing. Right, we're going to find our neutral spine. So where is my back flat and long without my bum being tucked under? Going right arm, left leg. Ooh. Right arm, left leg, reach out and bring it back down. Other side, lengthen out and bring it back down. Watch that the ribs don't fall out. There is a sense of holding them through that core, through the intercostal muscles. And every time I put my hand on the ground, I'm pushing outward to avoid myself kind of slipping into that shoulder. And reach and bring it back down. Tuck the toes under, press the knees off the floor, bum to the sky, nipples to the knees. Pedal the feet, find the bounce. Boing, 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 boing. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, keep going. And 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. And push them down, nipples to knees, heels to the ground, rise up onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees, let it tuck that tail under, scooping up the belly as you very gently lower the knees and release back out into your happy cat. Lovely. So I'm going to go for a nice little push-up now. So I'm just coming to face you so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to start with my nice spread fingers, press out with those hands. I'm on my knees in a modified plank, right? Elbows go back and press up. And again, elbows back and press up. And 2. And one more time, pressing out with those hands so that you really use our lats. So bringing those hands to a diamond shape, I'm bringing my thumb and forefinger together on the floor, and that's going to press my elbows to the side as I bend and press and bend and press, and 2 and 1 more. Lovely. Now take the hands a little wider with your fingertips facing outwards, and we're a little wider even maybe for me. I know where I'm going. I'm aiming my chest to the ground, and here we go. A bend and a press and a 3 and a press and a 2 and a press, and one more time, and just push back to pose of a child. So I'd be curious to know if you surprised yourself how well you did with that, rolling it up. Because we did do an awful lot kind of opening up this fascia around the chest. Right, guys, let's come down onto your bottom. I still feel like that's just not right. There we go, that's better. So I'm coming onto my bum, and we're going to find a V-sit. Taking those legs off the floor, shoulders down, hands can support behind those legs. Settle into your hips, see if you can get comfortable. Taking a big breath in, just to your lower back. Exhale, tucking that tail under, find that lower back, and breathe out and curl back up and lift the spine. And again, exhale, tuck that tail under, just roll into that lower back and peeling back up. Again, I'm really going to just zap the abdominals a little bit for 5 minutes, because I spent a lot of today's session on something I think is really important, but possibly wasn't why you popped in for a session. So I am aware of that. Rolling it down, extend those legs, flex the feet, and lay the head back down to the floor. Good. So now I'm going to think about going upwards, not forwards, as I breathe in and breathe out, reaching up, pressing the bottom ribs against the floor to go higher, and then lowering back down to the ground. Wide shoulder blades, and exhale, curling up. It's not because I'm protracting, it's because I'm shaping this rib cage, okay? And again, and exhale. Press the ribs against the floor, go a little higher and lower down. And one more time, and curl up. Go a little higher and come down. Lovely stuff. Bend those knees, bring the knees into the chest. We're going to stretch the right leg out, just push with the heel while the left is folded in. Right leg comes back in. Left one is going to push forward, extend through the back of the leg, through the heel, and fold the knee back in. Again, right leg extending it out. Now swing it up into the air, bum heavy on the ground. Lower it back down. And again, and lifting it up and lowering it down. I'm staying flexed. I'm thinking of lengthening the back of my leg all the time. And lifting up and lowering down. One more time. Lift it up and lower it down. Fold the leg back into your chest. Other side extends. Push out that heel, swing it up and drive it down. And again, bum is heavy on the ground, and then push with the belly of your hamstring. Make that something you think about regularly. Can I maybe push with the belly of my hamstring? Because for so many of us, that's such an underutilized muscle. We just so all flexor dominant on the top. And where is this? As you can see by the size of mine, I'm used to using mine a lot. And pressing down and bending back in. It doesn't make for an easy fitting pair of jeans with these big cannons. And now we're going to point those toes. Take a big breath. Exhale, chest lift. Stretch those legs forward, but keep the back down onto the ground. I'm going to let go and I'm going to lower those legs all the way down to the floor, all the way down to the floor, arms next to your ears, and then lower back. Zip those inseams. Now my intention on these roll-ups is feeling that press down with the ribs to go up. And if you are not able to roll from here, put your hands just under the back of those ribs every time. And as you breathe out, roll up and squash your bloomin' fingers. Squash them. And then your hands could always help and push you. We're going all the way forward. Let the arms continue to reach forward, zipping those legs together. Let it lift you back up. Bring your hands to behind your head. Feel your head gently press back into your hands. Don't clench your thighs, but squeeze the inseams together. And breathe out, tuck that tail under. I want you to go about half the way down, half the way, and hold. Scooping this in, and we're going to pulse. 8, 7, there's no recoil. And 5, squeezing those inseams together. 2, and 1, and lower the rest of the way back down. We're going to bend those legs, feet on the floor in line with your sits bones, pelvic curl, roll the hips up, standing into the feet and knees reaching forward over those second and third toes, and just feel the hands behind your head there. Where my pointy fingers are, my index fingers are, it's just under the base of my skull. There's a little pressure there actually, it feels nice. And as I breathe out and roll down, I might just see if I can feel like I can lengthen the back of my neck with my fingers, peeling it down to the ground. Stretch out the legs, reach the arms up, zip the inseams, exhale, roll it. If you need to put the hands under the lower back, that's what you do. Press those lower ribs against the floor to go up, scooping in all the tummy stuff, and reach all the way forward over those toes. Continue to extend forward and up, lifting, lengthening that back. Hands come back behind your head. Breathe in. Press the head back against your hand. Feel the little shortening in the front of the throat, lengthening in the back of the neck, and tuck that tail under. This time go to your lower back. Just let your lumbar spine imprint, and right leg comes in and put it back down, and left leg comes in and put it back down, and right leg comes in. Where's this? I don't mind when you breathe out. Breathe out when you feel you most need to feel that connection from the pelvic floor and the support for that lower back through the transverse. So last and last. 1, 2, and roll down. Bend those legs, put them in line with the sits bones. Pelvic Exhale, roll those hips up, stand into the feet, knees reaching forward. Inhale, fingers behind that head. Just make me aware of lengthening the back of my neck as I lengthen the spine down to the ground without clenching. And release, stretch it back. Arms up above you. Zip the inseams and press the lower ribs against the floor to go up as you scoop in that tummy, squeeze like you need a wee and go all the way forward. That's it. Continue to reach those arms forward and up. That's it. Bring the hands to behind the head. Head presses gently back against the hands. Feel that connection. This time I want to find my lower back, but I'm going to bend my knees as I'm rolling down and find, I've got to cramp my toe and find my tabletop. And we lower right leg and exhale, bring it up. And lower left leg and exhale, bring it up. And lower right leg. Breathe out, scoop this in, left leg. Now rotate for me, twist right and come back. Don't move the legs. Bring the rib over onto that left shoulder blade and back. And bring the rib over, resting on that back shoulder blade and back. Other side, shoop, and back. Last two, a little shoop and back. And last one. So my inseams are just staying together. Lower the head down. Bend those legs. Put the feet on the floor in line with your sits bones. Pelvis back to neutral. Breathe out as you roll it up. And as you peel yourself up, become conscious of these glute medius muscles from the outside of the hip bones that are diagonal down to your sit bone. Feel them kind of sponging all the fluid out. And as you breathe out and roll down, feel those sponges full up again as you peel through the spine, lengthening the back of the neck and release to neutral. Let's do that again. So I'm concentrating on not clenching my bottom, but just becoming conscious of what does occur as I put the weight down into the feet. And if I use my feet well, big ball, baby ball, heel, that sponging is really evident through there. Okay, and rolling it back down again. And the sponges kind of release. Last time, inhale, exhale, and just scooping it back. Standing into the feet, knees reaching forward, noticing, not making it more, not clenching my glutes, but just noticing. And as a result, perhaps the adductors are letting go a little bit, because I know there's one or two of us with really tight adductors from hip replacement. So we're going to let those arms come out, reach them up, stretch those legs straight along the floor, squeeze your inseams together. Exhale, curl up, pressing the ribs against the back of the ground as you pull yourself up. Good, going all the way across to the front. It's as controlled as you can make it today. Let those arms extend forward and up, just flattening the back on its journey up. And bring those arms down the side. And that is where I am going to finish today. So I hope you got something from that. And as I said, I'd be really keen to have some feedback. So do speak to me. Have a great week. I'll see you guys on Thursday.